Hi everyone and welcome to Fridays with Fenning. Last week Prince William and Sir David Attenborough joined forces to launch what they hope will become the Nobel Prize for Environmentalism. The Earthshot Prize is the biggest environmental prize ever, with £50 million being awarded over a decade. And the Prince said in an interview with the BBC that anyone could win and that he called for amazing people to create brilliant, innovative projects. These, he said, could help save the planet. Now, a few weeks back, I also watched the BBC TV programme called Extinction with David Attenborough, and it was very sobering viewing. And I kind of sat feeling a bit helpless as the problem seems so big and any little change that I make seems totally inadequate. Taking the environment seriously and making changes to my life choices is definitely something that I'm sensing that God is prodding me about. In a sense, the environment has always been important to me because of my farming past. Every farmer I know takes the responsibility of being custodians of the land very seriously and do a brilliant job in caring for the environment. The days of ripping out hedgerows and burning stubble are long gone, and now many grow wild flowers in patches of land which are hard to cultivate. Sprays have been adapted to be insect and bee friendly, and the standard of animal welfare has improved too. They, like the rest of us, need to continue to adapt to ensure that we hand the planet on to our children and grandchildren in a better state than we found it. And this is a global issue, and last Sunday's online service at the Forge reminded me that this is also a faith issue. In my interview with Ruth Valerio, she reminded us that we live in a world that God has made, a most beautiful, creative, awe-inspiring world. A world that God thinks is very good. And He's given us the responsibility to care for and look after what is created. The Bible says this, that God spoke, "Let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea and the birds of the air and the cattle, and yes, earth itself and every animal that moves on the face of the earth." Pope Francis has spoken lots about this. He said this, that as stewards of God's creation, we're called to make the earth a beautiful garden for the human family. And when we destroy our forests and ravish our soil and pollute our seas, we betray that noble calling. A Christian who doesn't safeguard creation, who doesn't make it flourish, is a Christian who isn't concerned with God's world. That work born of God's love for us. And our common home is being pillaged, laid waste and harmed with impunity. Cowardice in defending it is a grave sin, he said. Which means that you and I need to play our part in caring for the environment and fighting against global warming that impacts the poor and the marginalised first and worst across the country or across the world, and who have the least capacity to adapt and recover from disasters. This issue is bigger than us having warmer summers and less insects in the garden. This affects the most vulnerable people in the world. So, what can you and I do about it? Well, James, the brother of Jesus, wrote these words. He said, "Don't fool yourself into thinking that you're a listener when you're anything but, letting the word go in one ear and out the other. Act on what you hear." That's what he says. And we need to act to start to make a difference, however seemingly small that might be. What one thing can you do to change as a positive action towards caring for our environment? I asked people to email me one thing they would do off the back of Sunday's message. And Kat Lasky was the first person to respond, saying this: "We're planning on moving to soap and shampoo bars instead of bottles, and also trying to have one meat-free day a week. We're also going to check out zero waste shops and farmers markets to buy goods." They are great decisions, Kat, great decisions. Riona wrote this: "I'm going to stop buying fast fashion clothes and buy sustainable clothing when I need to. And also I'm going to walk or cycle to work instead of drive." Again, brilliant choices, Riona. You know, it was Stacey Dooley who highlighted in her documentary on the fashion industry that fashion is in the top 5 biggest pollutants in the world. You know, in one of her TV programs, she went out onto the streets to talk with shoppers about how much water was needed to produce the cotton clothing that people had just bought. And honestly, the people were physically shocked at the quantity needed. You know, a cotton jacket that one guy had bought, it needed 10,330 litres of water to produce the cotton for that one item. That's 24 years of drinking water for one person. And his response was, do I need that jacket as much as someone needs 10,000 litres of water? No. One lady said, from today I'm going to change the way I shop. You see, being aware of the situation brought about a desired change. And Stacey concluded her programme by saying this. She says, I do truly believe that it's not that people don't care, we're just not informed. I'm absolutely the worst because I'm a nightmare. I shop all the time. So I don't think that we know enough, and I think it's about just trying at least to shop responsibly. So if we could see the consequences of our actions, we might change much sooner. And so that's why clothes shopping in charity shops is so good. You get bargains and it's reusing something that someone else no longer wants or needs. You know, the 3 girls in my life, my wife and 2 daughters, all shop this way. Rarely do they buy new clothes. Why? Because they don't need to. So, Riona, a great choice with regards to your shopping, so you go for it, girl. One of our more elderly members of Forge Eye, Sandra Leverett, emailed me with this. She says, for my part, I've already cut down on meat eating and also order my veg loose on my Tesco delivery to avoid unnecessary plastic. In addition, my friends Sophie and John, who run the Little Gift and Eco Shop at Thornham Walks, stock washing liquid, 2 different flavours, laundry liquid and anti-bac surface cleaner, all made with pure ingredients. So take your own container to fill up, or you can purchase posher ones from them. I'll tell you, that is awesome, Sandra. Loving that you're choosing better lifestyle choices in order to make a difference. One more. Andrea Stewart, our eco queen, she emailed this. I want to see if I can get us 95% plastic free by the end of the year. I researched and found a company, Cupboard Love, at Framlingham Market on a Tuesday, where you can buy all those foods impossible to get out of plastic, like lentils and chickpeas and couscous and quinoa, pasta, rice, cereal, apricots, raisins, nuts. You get the drift. Just take jars, Tupperwares, or they supply paper bags. They refill shampoos and laundry liquid. And I've also been looking into cat litter, cat food, wet and cat biscuits to avoid any single-use plastic, and have cracked that too. Just bought a plastic-free iPad case as my old one broke and it had been plastic. Next, we're looking into clothing. So the challenge continues and I just love it. That's what Andrea says. And Andrea is so far ahead of the most of us in the choices that she's making. But I love it that there's still another choice to make, another area to make changes. And if we all make 1 or 2 positive changes, it all goes towards changing the bigger picture. So, buy fair trade tea. Try different brands until you find one that you like. Sarah and I, we love the Co-op's fair trade tea. Do the same with coffee. Look into having renewable energy for your home. You know, there are lots of companies out there who provide that at competitive prices. And if you're buying online, Google ethical before buying anything in order to see your options. I'd encourage you to check out Ethical Superstore online. It gives so many options. Most of us feel helpless when hearing about climate change and the concerns over our environment. But let's not lose heart, but look to make some positive changes. The earth is the Lord and everything in it, the world and all its people, reads Psalm 24 verse 1. And he's given us the responsibility to look after it. So let's play our part. Honestly, it's not that difficult, is it? And so what changes will you make to help make a difference in caring for our wonderful world. Hey, I hope you have a fun, but also an environmentally friendly weekend. You take care, and thanks for watching today.